What's going on, guys? Aero here, and guys, the topic of today's video can really apply to any video game system that you play on, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo. It really doesn't matter because today's topic can apply to any video game system, but I'm going to be focusing more on the Nintendo side of it because this is a Nintendo channel. So what I want to talk to you guys today is about how now with the modern era of video gaming and how there's online capabilities on our video game systems, there's many ways to get video game content on our consoles. I mean, back when we had like N64s and stuff, we pretty much just had to go to a store, buy the game, come home, and then play our games on that. And there wasn't even any like online functionality or any of that as well. If you wanted to play multiplayer, it was pretty much just local multiplayer only. You have to invite your friends over to your house and then get two controllers and play locally. But now with online, you can do a lot of things in video gaming that weren't possible. And one of the things you can do now is actually download games onto your system. I'm sure you guys all know about this. There's like Play stores and like different stores on all the systems where you guys can go and download the games and have them downloaded directly onto your system. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is I want to know which side you guys are choosing for Nintendo Switch or just whatever console you guys play on. Do you guys buy games physically or do you guys download them digitally onto your console? And I'm going to be giving you guys some pros and cons for each side, whether you're going to buy physical or if you're going to buy digital. And then I want to see what you guys have to say about this. Definitely let me know in the comments like which side you guys are on, and if you have any other like pros or cons that I missed in this video. I tried to think of as many as I could and try to think of the best ones that I could possibly think of. So I'll have the ones that I thought of in this video, but I'm sure there's definitely going to be a few that I missed, so you guys can let me know down below in the comments. And also I created a straw poll for this as well because I really want to see what you guys are deciding on this and like how you guys buy your games. So there is going to be a straw poll. It'll be linked in the description. I'll try to put it at like the very top so you guys can find it easily. And yeah, you guys can go on there and vote for which type of gaming that you guys like when you purchase your games. But yeah, let's get started with the video. Alright, so starting off, we're going to be talking about buying physical copies of games, and we're going to be talking about the pros first. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so one of the biggest things that you can say that is a pro about physical copies of games is possession, because you can actually say that you own this game. You can hold it in your hands and you can show it to people and say that yes, I own this game. That's really one of the biggest pros of having a physical game, because you can put it on like the floor, you can put it into your system, you can hold it in your hand, and it's like an actual tangible item, and you can say that you own a copy of this game. Tradability is also one of the biggest pros that you can get from buying physical games. If you've played a game for a long time and you've pretty much beaten everything you can do in that game, and you pretty much understand that you're not going to be coming back to this game anymore, and you've pretty much played all you can, you've gotten like your 100+ hours out of a game, then you probably want to trade it away. You don't want to play with it anymore, so you can usually go over to a friend's house, or if you have a friend who has a game that you would like and you have the game that they want, then you guys can give each other your copies of games. And if you have physical games, all you have to do is go over and trade it with them. And so that's definitely a big pro that you can have with physical games. You can just trade your game, you can give them the physical copy of the game, and so that's definitely a big pro from buying physical games as well. Similar to trading video games, resell ability is also another big pro that you can get from buying physical games. If you've gotten a game and you've already beaten it and stuff and you're not going to play it, then all you have to do is go over to a store and you can sell the game back to them and get a small amount of change. While GameStop and all those other stores usually rip you off, you can still get some change from it, rather than just having the game in your house collecting dust because you're not going to be playing it anymore. And obviously there's also other sites, like you can go on eBay or Amazon and actually sell that game for a pretty good decent amount of money as well. So that's definitely a big pro. You can sell your games, and even if you have like a friend who has who really wants to play a game or something like that, then you can sell your friend the game for like a small amount of money or something like that. So selling games is definitely a big pro because you have the physical game with you, so you can actually sell it. Alright, this last pro really isn't a big pro, but it is something that's pretty cool about buying physical games, and the fact is that you can display your games. You can actually show people that you have this game, because physical games come in a box or some type of actual like case that you can open to get out the game. And if you guys are like a collector and you like to display that in your room or wherever you guys game, then that's definitely a big pro that you can get with physical games. You can actually show them that you own this game. If you guys have like a giant bookshelf or something like that where you store all all your games, or if you have like a video game tower like shelf where you keep all of your games or something like that, you can actually show people that you own the game, and you can show people that you have this game. So that's definitely another pro as well. It's not a really big one, but it is still something that you can get from buying a physical game. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to the cons of buying physical games. So yeah, let's get right to it. So if you guys buy a lot of physical games, clutter can definitely become an issue. If you start getting a lot of game cases or just having a lot of discs, then wherever you guys game, if you have a small table or a small like entertainment area and you don't have a lot of space, then it can definitely become a bit cluttered by having all those discs everywhere, having video game cases. But then again, you know, if you guys do have like a video game shelf or something like that, that's not an issue. But for some people, it can become an issue if you guys start buying a lot of games physically. Then you have to worry about having like space to put all your games and stuff like that, so that can definitely become an issue as well. Alright, so another big problem that can come from buying physical games is broken games or cartridges. Now, whether you're playing on Nintendo Switch and you have cartridges, or if you play on PlayStation or Xbox and you have discs, the problem is if you do buy physical games, you do have a chance that they could become damaged or broken. You know, your discs could get scratched up, your cartridges could break. Somehow it is possible for your games to break, and that's definitely a big problem. And you know, that could definitely become an issue, especially if like your saves are stored onto the disc or like the cartridge, and you know, if they can get damaged and stuff, that could definitely become an issue as well. So that is a problem, that the game can actually become damaged. Alright, so the last con that I have for buying physical games is losing them. Now, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you guys, but for me, many times I've lost video games. Now, it hasn't really happened with discs. I don't really lose discs as often, like when I had discs for my Wii or like my Wii U. I didn't really lose those as often, but if you guys play on like a DS or a 3DS, or I guess now with the Nintendo Switch as well, and even the Game Boy, like when I had my Game Boy, I would lose cartridges so often. Like, I don't remember how often I would lose them, but it was just insane like how often I would lose them. Like, because they're so small, like they could slide through the sofa or somewhere, they could wind up like under the rug or something, and I would lose cartridges a lot. And that can definitely be a con for having physical games. You know, even if you do have discs, it is still possible to lose them, especially with cartridges. Now they're really small, they can go somewhere, they can slip through your seat somewhere on an airplane or something like that. They could go somewhere in like a car if you're playing them and you try to switch your games in a car or something. So that's definitely a big problem that can happen if you buy games physically. You could lose them, so that is definitely a con as well. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to purchasing digital games, and so I'm going to be talking to you guys about the pros that I have for buying digital games. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so by far the biggest pro that I have seen for digital games is convenience. The big thing that you can get from buying digital games is all of your games are stored on your system. You don't have to worry about switching games out or going up to a console, pressing the eject button to get a disc out, then you know, putting it back in the case, opening up another game and putting it back in the system, or even on the Nintendo Switch. You don't have to worry about taking out your cartridge and putting in another cartridge. You have all of your games right there on the system. All you have to do is press the home button, go back to your main menu, and you can slide through the different games that you have in your library and just click on another one and start playing in a matter of seconds, and you don't have to worry about switching out games. So that's definitely one of the biggest pros that you can get from buying digital games, especially with the Nintendo Switch 2 being like a portable system and how they want you to take it outside. You don't really have to worry about that. I mean, Nintendo did try to minimize not using discs, which was smart because obviously you don't want to be carrying discs with you wherever you go. So they did try to use small cartridges, but still, you know, cartridges, you still have to carry those around with you, and you know, if you don't have a case, that can become an issue if you're carrying them in your pocket and you lose them or something like that. So that's definitely a big pro. If you guys buy your games digitally, all you have to do is just go to the home menu and you can swipe through your library and just select games right there. So that's definitely a big pro. Alright, so another pro that I've seen from buying digital games is being able to get a pre-download. Now, a pre-download is basically when you're going to be able to download the entire game that you've bought digitally, and it'll download to your system, but you just won't be able to play it until the official release date, which is going to be like at 12 AM at midnight whenever the game launches. Now, this can definitely become really useful because if you've already gotten a game, then you pretty much are set to go and ready to play it. All you have to do is wait till it's time, and then you can start playing it right away. and this can definitely be really useful because you don't have to worry about going out to a store or anything to buy the game. And especially if a video game is coming out like in December and there's people outside while it's cold waiting for them to buy their game, you could be in your warm toasty house and just have the game already loaded, and at 12 a.m. you could start playing it while they're still at the store getting it in the cold. So that's definitely a big pro as well. You don't have to worry about going out to get the game or anything like that, and you can just have the game right there and start it as soon as the release day begins. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to talking about the cons of buying digital games. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so a con that can come from buying digital games, depending on how many games you buy, is space. Now, especially with the Nintendo Switch only having 32 gigabytes of internal storage, space can definitely become an issue, as if you really want to download digital games, you're probably not going to have enough space on your hard drive, and you're going to have to expand it. Now, this can be done by buying an external hard drive, or by buying like micro SD cards, because that's what's going to be used on the Nintendo Switch, and that can definitely become an extra like investment that you're going to have to do as well, because if you're going to be buying a lot of games digitally, then you're going to have to buy that to store your games as well. So that can definitely become a con of buying digital games. Alright, so similar to how I mentioned a big pro of buying physical games is possession, ownership is definitely a con of buying digital games. Now really, even though that you are buying a game like by downloading it digitally onto your console, you technically aren't like owning it. Like, I don't really consider it like that. It's more like the company is licensing the game to you and you're playing it that way, but you really can't say that like I own this game. Like, you can't hold it in your hand and say like I own this game. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think that that's definitely an issue or a con for buying games digitally. Refunds are definitely another huge con of buying digital games. Now, I'm sure we've all had that experience where you're really hyped for a game, you'd go out, you buy it, and then you play the game and you realize this is definitely not what I thought it was going to be. It's not really that good of a game, and you're probably like, okay, I'm just going to go and return it. You usually go back to the store, return it, get your money back, and then probably wait and buy another game. Yeah, the thing is, you can't really do that if you buy the game digitally. Almost every place doesn't have any way of getting you to be able to return your game and then get your money back or get a refund. You really can't do that if you buy a game digitally, so you're pretty much just screwed. So that can definitely become an issue as well if you buy games digitally. If you buy like a stinker game, then you're kind of screwed and you're gonna have to have it on your system. Alright, so the last con that I have for buying a game digitally is a stolen console. Now, hopefully this never happens to you guys, and I hope you guys never have to deal with having your console stolen, but it is still a possibility. Now, let's say you guys buy your games physically. Now, let's say if a person is able to steal your console and steal a few games, if they steal like 3 or 4 games in your system, you could say that like, they get away with $300 because of the hardware of your system, and around another like $100 to $200-ish worth of games. So you could say that they've gotten away with like $300 to like $500 worth of stuff that they've stolen away from you. Now, let's say that you get your console stolen, but you've bought all your games digitally. Now you're going to be losing the $300 worth of hardware that's your system, but you could also be losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of games that you've downloaded onto that system as well. So that's definitely a big con as well. Now, even though, you know, you could say that like, okay, I'm never going to get stolen or something like that, it's still a possibility and you never know what's going to happen. So that's definitely a con as well. So yeah. So there you guys have it. Those are all of the pros and cons that I could think of whether you buy games physically or digitally. Definitely click that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and comment down below how you guys buy your games. Do you guys buy them digitally or physically? I'm always curious to see what you guys have to say. There is also a straw poll in the description as well, so be sure to go and vote on there for how you guys buy your games. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero if you guys ever want to ask me anything or tweet me something. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.